Good morning, you're watching Doordarshan News and this is the news for hearing impaired. I am Nancy Kohli and with me is Shruti. Let's begin with the headlines. Centre moves ahead to meet the 1st July deadline to roll out the goods and services tax for enabling bills presented in the Lok Sabha to be debated in the House tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold meeting of full Council of Ministers on the GST today. Parliament passes mental health care bill, the suicide attempt no more a criminal act. US President Donald Trump calls Prime Minister Narendra Modi, congratulates him on the spectacular victory in the recent assembly elections. In international news, Russian authorities arrest opposition leader Alexei Navalny in Moscow. Massive anti-Putin protests break out in Moscow and other cities. US and European Union condemn the arrest. In Dharamshala Test, India just 87 runs away from winning the fourth and the final test and the series against Australia. Indian bowlers skittle out Australia's second innings for just 137 runs. And the Indian New Year begins today with the traditional festivals of Gudi Padwa, the 9-day festival of Chaitra Navratri also from today. Prime Minister Modi congratulates the nation on the occasion. And now the news in detail. Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Monday introduced in the Lok Sabha 4 bills pertaining to the goods and services tax that provide for a maximum tax rate of 40%, an anti-profiteering body and arrest for evading taxes. With the move, the rollout of goods and services tax, the biggest tax reform since independence, looks even more closer to reality. The passage of the bill by Parliament will pave the way, replacing the current patchwork of national, state and local levies with a single unified value-added tax system and integrating the country as one market. A full day of Wednesday has been kept for discussion on the bills in the Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding a meeting with the full Council of Ministers today to discuss the goods and services tax bill. Parliament on Monday passed a bill that seeks to decriminalize suicide attempt by mentally ill people and provides for the right to better health care for people suffering from mental illness. Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda said in the Lok Sabha that the mental health care bill the mental health care bill also has a provision to protect and restore the property right of the mentally ill people. The Lok Sabha passed the bill by a voice vote. All the amendments moved by the opposition members were defeated. The Rajya Sabha had passed it in August last year with 134 official amendments. The bill provides for decriminalizing suicide attempt by mentally ill persons by making it non-punishable under the Indian Penal Code. United States President Donald Trump called Prime Minister Narendra Modi and congratulated him on the recent victory of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the assembly elections. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer told media that Donald Trump congratulated Prime Minister Modi on the success of the BJP in the assembly elections. The Bharatiya Janata Party formed the government in 4 out of 5 states that went to polls. The Ministry of Home Affairs has decided to constitute an expert committee to suggest measures to strengthen safety and security of the railway tracks and property. The decision came after a meeting between the Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Railways Minister Suresh Prabhu on Monday. Recent incidents of railways, including suspected criminal interference and sabotage, were discussed during the meeting attended by Minister of State for Home Affairs Kiren Rijiju. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has asked for a report from the Uttar Pradesh government about the reported attack on African students in Noida. 4 Nigerian students sustained severe injuries after being attacked by one unknown person in Greater Noida's Pari Chowk area yesterday. The incident took place at around 6 in the evening when a group of locals held a protest at the busy junction demanding that all Africans living in residential colonies in Greater Noida be asked to vacate their rented houses immediately. Information and Broadcasting Minister Venkaiah Naidu has said that the online film certification system e-Cine Praman of Central Board of Film Certification would facilitate the Prime Minister's vision of the ease of doing business and digital India. Launching the online film certification system of the CBFC in New Delhi on Monday, the minister said that the complete automation of the film certification process would enable good governance, making the entire process transparent and efficient. The objective is to eliminate the need for human interface to the extent possible. The Election Commission has reserved its order on the plea of 21 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs that it should drop the case of Office of Profit against them, as their appointment as parliamentary secretaries has already been set aside by the Delhi High Court. The 21 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs are facing prospects of disqualification for allegedly holding Office of Profit. At the fourth hearing of final arguments on a petition seeking the disqualification of the Aam Aadmi Party lawmakers, the Commission said it is reserving the order on whether the Office of Profit case should continue against the Aam Aadmi Party lawmakers. The order is expected in the coming days. Arvind Kejriwal in March 2015 made appointments, and the Delhi government passed an amendment to the Delhi Members of Legislative Assembly Act 1997 in June 2015 to exempt the post of Parliamentary Secretary from the definition of Office of Profit with retrospective effect. Supreme Court on Monday reiterated that the government cannot make Aadhaar mandatory for extending benefits of its welfare schemes. The Apex Court had added that the government, however, cannot be stopped from using Aadhaar in other schemes like the opening of bank accounts. The court also suggested that a 7-judge bench has to be set up to hear the pleas challenging Aadhaar, but added it would not be possible immediately. And in more news from Supreme Court, it asked both the centre and the Jammu and Kashmir government to sit together and decide that whether over 68% Muslims in the state can be regarded as minority and avail benefits under the category. A Supreme Court bench comprising Chief Justice J.S. Kheher and Justices D.Y. Chandrachud and S.K. Kaul asked the centre and the state government to file a proposal on the issue within 4 weeks. Additional Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing for the centre, said it is a national issue, as in some states the community, which is part of minorities nationally, is in majority. The Apex Court also asked them to discuss the status of Hindus in the state as well. In some international news now, at least 11 people were killed in a suicide bombing and gun attack by suspected Al-Qaeda militants on a government compound in southern Yemen on Monday. The attack took place when security forces confronted a suicide bomber who tried to drive a minibus laden with explosives into a government compound in Halhuta, the Lahej provincial capital. Security forces opened fire on the bus and clashed with the militants wearing military uniforms who attacked the compound with automatic weapons. 6 security personnel and all 5 attackers died. Residents in northern Peru continue to be rescued by lifesavers after Perua River burst its banks, flooding homes amid Peru's worst flooding disaster in decades. More than 80 people have been killed and over 1 lakh displaced in rain-related incidents since December last year, most of them this month after a sudden warming of Pacific waters of Peru's coast, unleashing torrential downpour in a damaging local El Nino phenomenon. Heavy machinery is being used at many places to clear roads. In parts of Peru, including capital Lima, where 1/3 of Peruvians live, school classes have been suspended and running water restricted after treatment plants were clogged with debris from mudslide. Damage to infrastructure has choked off transit and produced food shortages. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been jailed for 15 days for resisting police orders during mass protests on Sunday. He was also fined for having organized an unsanctioned protest. He was among several hundred people who were detained in connection with the rallies across the country. The United States and the European Union have voiced deep concern over the detention, with the State Department describing the arrest as an affront to democracy. The Kremlin called the protests a provocation and a lie. Demonstrations were held not just in Moscow and Russia's second city, St. Petersburg, but also in a number of provincial cities where protests are rarely seen. Moving on to sports news now, India stands just 87 runs away from a famous test match and also series victory against Australia in Dharamshala. Needing 106 runs to win the fourth in the last test match on day 3, Indian openers Murali Vijay and KL Rahul are at the crease, adding 19 runs without being dismissed. Today is the fourth day of the test match, and the series and hosts need just 87 more runs to regain the coveted Border Gavaskar Trophy. The 4-match series is currently tied at 1-1. And earlier yesterday, Indian bowlers dismissed the Aussies' second innings for just 137 runs thanks to brilliant fast bowling by pacer Umesh Yadav. The spin duo of Ravindra Jadeja and R. Ashwin claimed 3 wickets each. India were bowled out for 332 runs in their first innings, taking a small but crucial 32-run lead. The medal winners for India at the World Winter Games and Special Olympics were felicitated by the Minister of State, Independent Charge for Youth Affairs and Sports Vijay Goyal in New Delhi yesterday. The World Winter Games were held in Austria from 14 to 25th March this year. The Special Olympics team of India, competing against 2,700 athletes from 107 countries, won 37 gold, 10 silver and 26 bronze medals and secured 5th position in the overall medal tally. The coaches and the support staff of the Indian contingent was also felicitated. Today is the beginning of Indian New Year, Vikram Samvat 2074. It is celebrated in different forms across the country like Ugadi in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, Gudi Padwa in Maharashtra. This is the time of the harvest for farmers that is symbol of prosperity for all after the year's hard work. And the 9-day-long festival of Chaitra Navratri, devoted to Goddess Durga and her 9 forms symbolizing purity and power or Shakti, begin from today. Temples have been decorated and special morning prayers are being offered by devotees. And with that, it's a wrap on this newscast. Thanks for being with us.